has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Happy heavenly birthday to Marvin Gaye. And we are all in the arts and education today. It's a great and important topic. And I'm being joined right now by the chair of the dance department at the LA County High School for the Arts. Happy to welcome in Natasha Diamond Walker. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Okay, I'm happy to have you. So for folks that aren't familiar, they think high school for the arts, they think fame or whatever. Talk about what LA County High School for the Arts is, because it's not your everyday public school, but it's not your private dance academy.
Yes, so LA County High School for the Arts was started in 1985. We share the campus with Cal State LA, so it's right here in Los Angeles. And essentially what we are a public high school that receives funding through something that we call the foundation, the LA County High School for the Arts Foundation, which provides conservatory-style arts training for young artists within cinema arts, dance, theater, visual arts, and music, of course.
And what do you mean when you say conservatory style?
That's a good question. So conservatory style means in alignment with what you would see at sort of like a college or university caliber arts school. So collegiate level, it's along those lines, conservatory style training.
It's like training for future professionals
exactly.
in the business. It's not
right.
kind of the perfunctory, if we are even lucky enough to get it, arts course in our high schools.
Yeah, and it's really training for young artists who know that they are artists and they want to pursue the arts professionally as their career, as their passion, as their life calling.
Mm-hmm. And my understanding is to go to the LA County High School for the Arts, you're going to be auditioning. You're not just going to walk up in there.
That's correct. Which I think is a testament to the types of artists that are currently at the school because they have to audition to get in. Usually that means that they want to be there all the time And yeah, it's a really high level training program.
And which, to be honest with you, I think it's great what you guys are doing. I'm surprised we don't have more of that kind of stuff, considering this is Los Angeles.
Yeah.
This is one of the entertainment centers of the whole doggone world. And I feel like we do, not you guys, but in general, I think we do a pretty poor job of educating below the line folks, you know, the future directors, the writers, all of the artists above and below the line, particularly in communities of color. Because, you know, forget DEI. You don't you want your local hometown human resource to be ready to step into the company town?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I am an alumni from this high school.
Really?
And, yeah. And what I realized is that, just as you're saying, so many artists come to the school, but then they leave and they go somewhere else outside of Los Angeles. And I think that speaks volumes to potentially what LA is offering, right? Within the arts, not just acting, but music and cinema and dancing and visual arts. So yes, I think we need more arts training.
You know, you're over the dance.
I am.
The dance department.
Yes.
And I laugh because dancing is a career that most parents try to discourage their children from doing. It's like being a poet. You know, both my parents are poets.
Right.
This is not a well-paid job.
No,
generally.
it's not. And people ask me, like, are you getting paid for what you do? So yes, exactly. It is something that you do not go into for the money.
Yeah.
Surely.
Right, but
Yes.
yet you're leading a cohort of students who had to audition, strive, and before that auditioning, a lot of practice, a lot of dedication to even get to that level.
Yeah.
And they want to be dancers.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think of dance as the highest level of being an athlete under the arts, right? So you have musicians, writers, actors, but dance is really the most physical in terms of the kinesthetic expression of an artistic form. So it's not easy, and I think that the people that are called to be dancers or to dance truly have a gift and a calling that they cannot deny, or they wouldn't do it.
Right. Yeah,
Which
right.
is something else.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that, I'm sure that was the case with you.
Absolutely.
And when you went to LACHSA, the LA County High School for the Arts,
Yes.
tell me that story. I'm sure your parents
What
were
was
like,
I thinking?
is this what we're doing? Or
Yeah.
were they humoring you? Or
Well, you know, I was always creative as a young person, and young person meaning a toddler, you know, dancing around to music, which, you know, I really think most people are creative people, and we're somehow asked to step into other roles that are less creative as we get older and older. But not to digress, I was dancing from the moment that I could sit up and hear music. And I think that my mom realized that, and she just really took that and put me into every single thing that was artistic that she could. And I also was very interested in athletics. So I played soccer for a long time. And there came to be a point in the road for me where I had to choose, did I want to keep going towards being a professional athlete playing soccer, or did I want to start moving towards being a professional dancer? And so I chose dance.
mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sounds like you chose dance and dance chose you.
Chose me, correct.
And so I guess, you know, we set out to talk about how important it is to have the arts and support the arts, not just in schools, but in the public square, kind of. And it sounds like your story is a testament to that. Shout out to your mom for saying, okay, we're leaning into this rather than running away
Thank you,
from
Mom.
it.
Yes.
Because I talk to so many people. Oh, yeah, my parents really wanted me to be a doctor. You know, they wanted me to be a lawyer.
Right.
Anything but a poet, anything but a dancer, anything but a painter.
Right. Yeah, I think some stories are just meant to happen the way that they're meant to happen and the way that they're meant to be told. And it's a testament to really following one's own path and one's intuition and kind of, because just because I felt called to dance, it doesn't necessarily mean that I would have success as a dancer, right? Or you having success in what you do.
Same with lawyers, though, exactly. By the way.
Right. But you don't know, and you just keep going, and you kind of check in with yourself and how things are feeling. And I tell the dance students every day that it's okay to change your mind and to go a different route and to take with you what you have learned through your training of being a dancer or whichever perspective path you're in, because it's all applicable.
I mean, I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
You look at something like the LA 84 Foundation, which I did a lot of work with her, the money from the 84 Olympics supporting youth athletics. And their motto is life ready through sport. We have no problem with a person playing sports in junior high and high school and then going on to be, president of the United States or CEO of a company. We say, they learned a lot about life through sports. And I would say the same is true of arts. But I know, for example, like myself, I don't know that I would have gone to middle school if it wasn't for my drama classes. Like the rest of it was pretty much torture.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that there is
creative expression.
There's a creative expression point that supports other pieces of the educational puzzle.
Absolutely.
Do you see that happening with your students?
Yes. And I think that I'm not much of a scientist, but I think it comes down to biology and the brain and the development, how we move through different stages of our lives. And I think that being a creative person or learning through creative processes is one of the best ways to discover who you are, right? Like sensing your feelings and what that means, and then building onto that. Well, what do you want to do when you grow up? How are you going to make money? So I think they're both important.
Yeah. Absolutely. We got some comments here in our YouTube chat, which is at KBLA 1580 on youtube.com. Jatoy Johnson says we need more performance art schools. Go fix manual arts. And go see Orange County Performance Arts School. You're getting a lot of compliments for just you being a human. More poets should consider ghostwriting. Shout out to Hamilton High School's Music Academy.
Hamilton.
HHS.
Yes.
And, of course, they're talking about AI. AI is the new ghostwriter. I don't know that AI can get on a stage and dance, though.
This is another thing I tell the dancers. I think that we will be the last breed of artists to be taken over by AI. It's just impossible. You can maybe have robots, but they will never have the grace of a ballerina or of, a West African dancer dancing to the beat of a drum. So we are very unique. And, before I came in here, I was thinking about the role of not just AI, but technology in the classrooms and how how you and I maybe learned in class is very different today of how students are learning. And, they're just given a computer to sit in front of instead of having engagement with the teacher and talking and writing with a pen and pencil. And I think that dance in the dance classrooms at LA County High School for the Arts and across the nation and other dance classrooms, we don't have that technology aspect. And I think it's actually a blessing because you need not look into a device for answers or for creativity or for information. We try to bring it forth from the students, which is so important.
Yeah. Although, I have a friend, at least one friend that's a dancer that's had their style copied by AI and then animated.
Okay.
Like, or taken for video games or for,
Sure.
computer generated humans.
There's a
that
role,
now,
like Avatar, right? Perfect
yeah,
example.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, so those protections are still needed, I think, for dancers. But it's a good point. It's hard to I don't think that Kendrick Lamar is going to be going on tour with a bunch of
Robots.
Tesla robots dancing. Who knows?
Yeah.
800-920-1580. You're always invited in. We are talking with Natasha Diamond Walker, LA County High School for the Arts. We're talking about the importance of arts in schools, continuing that conversation with the second half of the hour with former LAUSD Superintendent Austin Buettner. We're on arts and education today and arts education. KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
The revolution will not be televised.
What's up? It is Killer Mike, also known as Michael Render, and I'm encouraging you to listen to more, not less of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Senator Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
Before the fire, Altadena was a real-life Wakanda. A thriving black oasis just 15 miles from downtown Los Angeles. 80% black residents were homeowners, building intergenerational wealth against the odds. It was a hub of black-owned businesses, churches, and cultural institutions. It stood as a symbol of black resilience and economic independence. Then, in a matter of hours, it was gone. The fire tore through homes, swallowed businesses, and left behind a painful void. But was it just an unstoppable act of nature, or was negligence involved? Did officials ignore early warning signs? Were the response efforts delayed or insufficient? What role, if any, did corporate or government failures play? Survivors are demanding answers. Don't miss our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall. The Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting, on Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center, 1081 North Fair Oaks in Pasadena. Join Dominique DiPrima, Nee Cordelai Corte, James Farr, Tavis Smiley, and a panel of survivors, community leaders, and experts as we commemorate Day 100 since the wildfires flared up, and we discuss where we go from here. It's KBLA's Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting Town Hall, Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center in Pasadena. Light refreshments to follow. Admission is free, but sign-up is required at our KBLA1580.com website. This is a community call to action, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you indeed. We are talking with Natasha Diamond Walker. She is over the dance department of the LA County High School for the Arts. And some people folks know may have gone there, right?
Yes.
Can you give us any examples?
Yes. Well, one of our most famous alumni is Miss Charm LaDonna, choreographer and dancer. She started right out of LA County High School for the Arts with Madonna. That was her first tour that she went on. And then Madonna took her under her famous Madonna wings. And now Charm is a choreographer. She just did the Kendrick Lamar halftime performance most recently.
Pretty
so
amazing.
We love her. She comes back to the school regularly, and she's really a light.
And one of the reasons you came in here today early in the morning was to get the community in to support the school. And in what ways are you looking for community support?
So we always love people to come to our performances. I'm here selfishly to promote the dance performance because that's the department I oversee. We have a show coming up this Saturday, April 5th. There's a 2 p.m. show and a 7:30 p.m. show that is going to be at the Luckman Fine Arts Complex, which is on the campus of Cal State LA. So please come out. We have wonderful show that the students are working on, choreographers, Martha Graham, which is where I danced in New York City. We have a Martha Graham piece on the program, Christopher Huggins from the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, Paulo Hernandez, formerly from Ballet Hispanico. We have some ballet point excerpts and just so many different kinds of choreography, and the students are just shining bright, and it's a wonderful, wonderful way to support the dance community.
So just showing up.
Show up.
And where would we get tickets for that?
You can get tickets through the Luckman box office. All of that information is online. If you just Google Luckman Theater, you will find it. It's very easy. Just call them.
And this is the most basic thing. Show up, get your butt in a seat, watch the students at work.
Right.
What other ways do people support? You mentioned a foundation.
Yeah, so LA County High School for the Arts has a foundation that oversees the fundraising for the arts education that we provide, free arts education. That foundation is run by Miss Trina Pitchford, and we always welcome donations to the foundation. You can find more information about that on our website, which is LACHSA. That's an acronym for LA County High School for the Arts .net.
LACHSA.net is where you can find it.
Yes.
And what about for folks who have that kid that's like that's like you, that's like a Natasha Diamond Walker, who's been dancing or making speeches or I was that kid in theater. Tavis was that kid in speech making. Tavis was doing Martin Luther King speeches everywhere.
Yes.
I was rounding up kids and forcing them to do my plays.
Oh, I like that too.
So if you got one of those in your house and you think, LA County High School for the Arts might be a fit, what would they do? How would they?
Yeah, so I would recommend a few different avenues into the arts at our high school. One of them is to come to a show. So we have many, many different shows happening all the time. You can find our performance calendar online at that website I just gave you, LACHSA, which is LACHSA.net. Every art department, cinema arts, theater, music, visual arts, we all have performances that are open to the public. You can purchase a ticket, but for young artists, especially middle school who may be looking at coming to LACHSA, we do offer free tickets for them to come see our shows.
For middle school kids.
For middle school students, and also for elementary students as well, through community outreach performances. And then there's a wonderful summer arts conservatory that happens on the campus of LA County High School for the Arts every summer. And they are also a bridge, not directly into the school, but they'll give you the training that you might need to prepare for an audition to get into LA County High School for the Arts, and that's free as well. Oh,
it's also just a great thing for experience for a kid to have, and good for their resume. Yeah, kids have resumes now.
They
I know
do
it's
have
crazy.
resumes.
Really, really crazy. Yeah. And I'm on the calendar right now. I see Spring Dance Concert taking place Saturday. You mentioned shows at 2 p.m. and at 7. There's also an experimental film festival going on right now, which is interesting.
There's cinema arts. Yeah, and our theater department just did Boxing the Sun theater production. That was a smaller production by the theater company that we have within the high school, which is overseen by Lois Hunter, our theater department chair. So there's many, many opportunities for people to come out and witness the performances, but to also engage with the students that are currently at the school and ask questions at outreach performances. And we're here. We're here.
The students that you're overseeing, this performance that you guys are getting ready to do on how many?
85.
That's a lot of dancers. That's a whole big company right there.
A lot of costumes, yeah.
A lot of costumes. What styles of dance? You mentioned a few that are coming up in this performance, but overall, in terms of what you teach, what you offer, and what the talents that they show up with.
Oh, so many. So primarily, our curriculum is based on conservatory classical styles of ballet technique and modern technique. And for those that maybe don't know what a classical modern technique is, it encompasses the Lester Horton dance technique and the Martha Graham dance technique. Both of those are found at, places like the Ailey School, Juilliard, USC. So really it's my goal to shape the high school curriculum around these more prestigious and well-known institutions in the dance community. So we have ballet, we have Lester Horton technique, Martha Graham technique, and then we also have Catherine Dunham style technique, West African, hip hop, jazz, improvisation, and composition. And composition is where the students have an opportunity to create their own works and choreograph and perform in their own choreographed shows. So it's not everything, but it's as much as we can fit into 5 days and 3 hours of an arts period per day. So
wow.
Yes.
Makes me want to go to high school.
You can come.
Why is it that, I guess it's kind of a two-part question, but it's a one-part question.
Yeah.
In this moment that we're in a really tight budget in California. We're seeing changes on the national landscape. It feels like a hostile environment for arts in schools. Do you feel that the programs like yours are threatened, and what is the role of the public in supporting their survival?
So my answer is yes. I do feel that we are affected by budget cuts always. We're always being asked to consolidate. How can we trim things off? And I think it's an ongoing conversation of how to still have a robust and diverse arts education, even with having cuts to the budget and to our staff and our teachers. The role of the public, I would say, is to, if you can donate towards this LACHSA Foundation or even coming to the performances, it shows interest. It shows that it's important to the community. It's important to our world. And I think that that's what we can do. That's what we have the power to do. And just that is a good place to start. So showing up, like we said before, and also donating to the foundation.
Well, thank you so much for coming in and sharing with us. It's a lovely conversation. Natasha Diamond Walker has been our guest here, and go to LACHSA.net if you want to donate, if you want to see the show. Have a wonderful performance.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful to be here with you. You're great in your pink shirt.
Thank you. We'll be talking to Austin Butner, former LAUSD superintendent, next about arts in the schools when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Like D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser has delayed presenting her proposed budget to the D.C. Council, awaiting Congress's decision on restoring over $1 billion to the current budget. Newark, New Jersey is suing Geo Group, a private prison company, for allegedly renovating a facility without permits to use it as a migrant detention center. Geo Group officials claim the lawsuit is politically motivated. The Justice Department will seek the death penalty for Luigi Mangione, accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in what they say was a premeditated, cold-blooded assassination. Mangione is also facing state charges in connection to the murder. And being bilingual may slow Alzheimer's brain degeneration with larger memory areas and cognitive preservation. Researchers at Concordia University in Montreal say learning another language later in life can still be beneficial. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
When you visit the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, the way you see the world begins to change. You realize that the more you encounter amazing species, the more you can't imagine a world without them. San Diego Zoo Safari Park. See conservation from a new perspective.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man. The Dodgers are giving early indications that they are serious about winning a second straight World Series championship. They beat Atlanta Tuesday night 3-1 to stay undefeated. The Dodgers are 7-0. The impressive start ties the Dodgers with the 1933 New York Yankees for the best start in Major League Baseball for a returning champion. The Dodgers go for 8-0 tonight against Atlanta. The Clippers are back in action tonight. They're at home against New Orleans at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Clippers have 7 games remaining in the regular season, and all of them could be important. The Clippers are a half game behind Memphis and Minnesota for 6th place in the Western Conference. The first 6 teams qualify for the playoffs and avoid the play-in round. The Lakers are 4th in the West with 7 games left. They're at home Thursday night against Golden State. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Dominique DiPrima, and it's almost time to celebrate KBLA's 4th anniversary, coming up Juneteenth 2025. We'll be marking the achievement with 4 key community events, including a special symposium, luncheon, and brain trust hosted by me entitled The State of Black Women in Los Angeles. Keep it locked here for details on how to join us for this groundbreaking symposium examining the unique challenges, triumphs, and contributions of Black women in Los Angeles in the areas of education, healthcare, community leadership, cultural and political contributions. This public convocation will provide a critical forum to address the specific social, economic, and political realities facing Black women in LA today. We'll go live with a radio broadcast and YouTube live stream, a public discussion, and a private dialogue with some of LA's most impactful women. It's an affirmation of Black women standing at the intersection of race and gender in times of adversity while demonstrating remarkable resilience and leadership. We will listen and we will speak out and be heard, all in service of finding opportunities and solutions. Please plan to join us in celebrating our 4th anniversary by amplifying the voices of Black women. For more on our symposium and 4 events celebrating 4 years on the air, simply stay tuned or keep an eye on KBLA1580.com and help make this Juneteenth more jubilant with all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
Time is up. The IRS is in full collection mode for 2024, issuing liens, levies, and garnishments to anyone who has a past tax debt or unfiled tax returns. Don't wait till it's too late. Your paycheck and bank accounts are at risk of being seized. Call now and stop the collection process today. If you're living check to check, no matter how much you're making, you still may qualify for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. It's just a 5-minute call to get your options, and it's free. If you owe back taxes, have years of unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to sleep better, business or personal, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief while there's still time. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and tough. This veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. The call is free. Call their hotline number now, 800-246-1923. That's 800-246-1923. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-246-1923 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
At the tone, please record your message.
You ready?
Drop it!
Mr. Tavis Smiley, preach it. Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. Know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
As we go a little something like this.
Hey, it is me, D.L. Hughley, and I am thrilled to be heard weekdays in my hometown on KBLA Talk 1580. So check out the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. We got a whole lot to talk about, let me tell you.
That's for the real. Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
We are, and I'm so excited. We've just been having a great day of arts and education around here, and we're keeping it going. We could actually probably spend a lot more time talking about that in life, but we're getting to it today. And I'm happy to welcome back into the conversation on the show the author of Proposition 28, which was a big initiative here in the state of California to bring more arts into the schools, to bring back arts into our public schools. He's also a former superintendent. He was a deputy mayor in the city of Los Angeles. Austin Butner, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Prop 28, for those who don't remember, passed overwhelmingly. California voters committed money, our tax money, rain or shine, to increasing, not sustaining, but increasing the level of arts in the schools. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah, and when you say overwhelming, almost 2/3 of voters back in November 2022 agreed to dedicate an additional $1 billion of money for schools to hire arts teachers to give our kids arts and music education, because before the passage of Prop 28, barely 1 in 5 schools had a full-time arts or music program, which is just awful. So we went to the voters. They overwhelmingly approved it, $1 billion, no new taxes, and the money goes directly to schools to hire additional arts teachers to provide additional arts instruction at schools. And the good news in places like Long Beach is it's happening. They've hired 150 additional arts instructors all through K through 12. The challenge is some schools aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing with the money. They're using it to pay existing staff. And the practical effect is kids get no additional arts instruction.
So the money's being spent. It's not that the money's not being spent. It's just that it's not necessarily being spent for what the voters wanted it to do.
Yeah, that's one has to listen carefully when some school districts say we spent the money. Well, of course they did. They might have hired additional arts teachers like Long Beach did, or they might have spent the money on something they're already doing. And that's a direct violation of the law. This is specific money to do something extra, something wonderful for kids. You've just spent a long conversation with the folks from LACHSA about why arts matter in a kid's life. We know that. Science tells us, and kids will tell us that. But the idea with Prop 28 is keep doing what you're doing. The rest of your budget's the same as it always was. But here's a special gift that's ongoing money to hire that extra arts teacher at your school. Can't use it for anything else, only to hire that arts teacher. That's what the law says.
So 80% of it is supposed to go for staff, 20% for whatever those materials are that are needed when you do art.
Yeah, the staff may say we need supplies, training. If it's an animation class, they might have to buy some software. If it's a theater class, they might have to buy some props. But the lion's share, 80+%, is supposed to go to hire teachers.
And that's not what's happening. That's not what we're finding is happening. It seems kind of hard to track, but you're tracking it.
Well, we're tracking it. We have the receipts, and in Los Angeles Unified, where I used to work, sadly, they're the principal offender. They've taken all the money they received, and let's just look at 23-24 school year. So it's old and cold. It happened already over a year ago, which was the first year of Prop 28. They took the money and used it to pay for existing staff. They didn't hire any new arts teachers. The superintendent sent a memo to the board of LA Unified saying, we use the money to pay for existing staff. That's a direct violation of the law. Now, they've been, it's hiding the ball. I'm trying to find the right vernacular to use. That's polite. Because they'll say, well, we spent the money. But yeah, you spent the money. You spent it on something you weren't supposed to, but you did technically spend the money. Then they'll say, well, we've been doing this, that, and the other thing. And you go, no. Just share with us publicly, school by school, which is what the law requires, what additional arts teachers were at every school. That's your answer. And they know that. They roster every employee. They know how many arts classes they have. And they've refused for almost 2 years to provide the public with that basic information. How many arts teachers did you have in the baseline year, 22, 23, at any school? We can go to Baldwin Hills Elementary, ask the families there. Did you have a 2-day-a-week art teacher, 4-day-a-week? And what changed for the next school year? Well, the sad fact is nothing changed. They didn't hire additional arts teachers. Now, it's a little bit harder to track, Dominique, from the outside because LA Unified won't provide families or teachers or the public with the information that they should be doing. But we know lots of people in schools, and fortunately they've shared with us information from the inside which show us that schools were instructed, they were directed by the central office, by the superintendent and his team in LA Unified, to take the new money and use it to replace the old money.
That's crazy.
Direct violation of law.
I mean, and here's
it's crazy. And go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's not only misusing funds, and that bothers me, and they should be more transparent and accountable about that, but they're hurting kids. It was a gift. We all know that extra time with an art teacher in dance, learning to express oneself. I've shared with you before, I was a very, very shy kid, moved a bunch, and it wasn't until I found myself in a music class, a group of friends, and then I developed a sense of agency. Cello became bass became guitar. I could perform in front of thousands of people before I could speak in front of tens of people. But for me, it started with that small group, that group of friends. And there are so many opportunities. We all have our story. You do, I do, all of us adults do. We need to make sure every kid in schools get that same opportunity.
Well, and the other thing is, I think that because you were an LAUSD superintendent and a deputy mayor, when you wrote Prop 28, you were able to anticipate that this money could just be absorbed into keeping things the way that they already are. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that's why it explicitly states that it has to be for new instruction.
Yeah, that's, born at night but not last night. So when we sat around my kitchen table, a group of teachers, myself, and a couple of really smart lawyers who said, okay, here's what we want to do. Now, how are those unscrupulous superintendents or administrators going to try and take the money and use it for something else? Because that's what schools do, and I recognize there are always budget things and confusion, but there's no confusion here. We wrote it, and it says you may not use this additional money to pay for existing things. It can't be more clear. That's what the voter guide said over and over and over. That's what California voters, the 7 million people who voted for this, if you just walked up to the average person in the street and said, do you remember Prop 28? Hopefully they say yes. You'll say, remember, that was the one that provided extra money for additional teachers at schools. I go, yeah, that's the one I voted for. There's no misunderstanding. It's crystal clear what the law says. And unfortunately, LA Unified has decided it doesn't want to follow the law.
We're talking with the author of Prop 28, Austin Buettner. And when we come forward, we're going to find out what they're doing about it. Legal action on the horizon here. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
The Eaton Canyon fire devastated many black families in Altadena, taking more than just homes. It took memories, legacies, and generational wealth. The heart of a black community is now in jeopardy, but Justice Coalition, led by Gage and King LA Lawyers for the People, are here to help. If you've lost your home, we are standing by to hold insurance companies and utilities accountable for the damage caused. When the community suffers, we all suffer. Together, we can rebuild what was lost. Your recovery starts today. Call 626-429-1259. That's 626-429-1259. Or visit www.eatonfirelawyers.net. Justice Coalition, Gage and King, LA Lawyers for the People. We got you. Call 626-429-1259. Visit www.eatonfirelawyers.net. Again, 626-429-1259. This is attorney advertising. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Legal representation is provided by licensed attorneys.
At Providence, health equity is the foundation of our community health initiatives, ensuring care reaches those who need it most. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in America. African Americans face a higher risk of life-threatening issues like hypertension, the #1 cause of stroke. 55% of black adults have high blood pressure. The good news is 80% of heart disease is preventable with healthy lifestyle changes and patient-centered care provided by the Providence Heart and Vascular Institute. From routine screenings to advanced procedures, Providence provides comprehensive care for the heart conditions that overly impact our community by ensuring patients receive treatments tailored to their needs. Let's stop the trend of being 30% more likely to die from heart-related problems. Take charge of your heart health with world-class cardiologists who deliver the compassionate care you deserve. Visit providence.org/SoCalHeart. That's providence.org/SoCalHeart to request an appointment.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
It does. We're focusing on arts education today. I'm loving that so much. We are talking with the author of Proposition 28, which was something voters passed by a huge margin to increase arts education in public schools in California. And Austin Buettner, the author of that, also former deputy mayor in Los Angeles, former superintendent. You've been tracking since Prop 28 passed how it is, in the case of a Long Beach district, being used to increase access to arts education for kids, and how it's not in other cases, as in the example of the Los Angeles Unified School District. One of the things you're calling for is an audit. I understand that audit being supported by, among others, Assemblymember Isaac Bryan. Talk to me about that, with the why and the what.
Yep. Sure. This goes back almost 2 years now since the law passed. We've been working with school districts to make sure they're doing it the right way. More than a year ago, it came to our attention that LA Unified wasn't using the money to add arts teachers, like is happening in Long Beach, like has been happening in Inglewood or Compton, but not in LA Unified. They use the money to pay existing staff. So we sent letters to the governor, state superintendent of education, state controller, the superintendent of LA Unified, the school board, and said, we're concerned. We're hearing that it's not being used properly. No response, another letter, no response, another letter, no response. And by when I say we sent letters, not just myself as the author, but people who work in schools, teachers, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, the person who comes in the morning and turns on the heat in the school, a big coalition, arts advocates, all of us who worked in support of this, the crickets. And the district has said, no, we don't have to. We don't have to hire arts teachers. Well, that's not what the law says. So two things have happened since, because we want to make sure kids get what they deserve and what the law says they should get. This is a righteous fight. Assemblymember Bryan has recently requested the Joint Legislative Audit Committee of the Assembly and Senate to investigate what LA Unified did. He wrote a very thoughtful letter. He's been a supporter of this initiative since inception. He and I walked neighborhoods during the campaign to make sure people knew about this opportunity, and he wants to make sure kids get what they need and deserve. And he raised a bunch of concerns, and this is a perfectly appropriate thing for the Joint Legislative Audit Committee, otherwise known as JLAC, to look into, which is, let's get an independent and very objective group of folks to come in and look at a bunch of districts. So he said we should look at LA Unified because there are allegations, serious allegations, they've used the money improperly. Let's look at Long Beach. They may be the exemplar. Let's look at some smaller districts around the state. So he's asked about 10 districts or so be looked at, which LA Unified and Long Beach would be two important ones. I think one is what good looks like and one is what bad looks like. In addition, that same group of us and a group of families filed a lawsuit against LA Unified. And the lawsuit alleges three very straightforward things. The first is you used the money improperly and didn't follow the law. We got the receipts. The second is, sadly, they've engaged in a cover-up. They've lied about what they used the money for and what they're doing. to cover up the crime they committed. And the third is they're violating the civil rights of Black and Latino students. One of the unique features of Prop 28 is it provides extra funding to schools which serve kids in low-income communities. And sadly, we know in California, the overwhelming portion of Black and Latino students live in those neighborhoods. Well, we want to make sure there's extra funding because we got to catch up and we got to make sure that there's plenty of arts education for students. Well, LA Unified not and knowingly not providing the funding and the arts education for schools which serve Black and Latino students, you violated their civil rights. So the lawsuit, you violated the law, you lied about it to cover up, and you violated the civil rights of students. And Assemblymember Bryan is very concerned, and he's asked the state auditor to look into this, and we hope they do. And we know what they're going to find. We've seen the information. We know what LA Unified's doing, and we need to shed light on that and make sure that authorities have them do the right thing for kids.
What would be a successful outcome of the legal action? What would that look like?
I think three things, keeping it simple. The first is they have to admit they made a mistake. That's something that's taught in schools all the time. It's something we as parents teach our kids. The first place to start is you have to acknowledge when you made a mistake. And the second is put the money back for 23-24 and 24-25 and commit to a plan to continue to obey the law. And the third would be a real plan to hire teachers. They're going to make up for lost time. So they're going to have to double down. They're going to do some things they don't normally do to make sure there's a trained and qualified arts teacher in every school, which is what the law provides. And they're behind. Long Beach has been doing it for almost 2 years now. As of Inglewood, as of Compton, so LA Unified's got to get on the horse and ride. But three simple things. Admit you made a mistake, put the money back to be used properly, and commit to hire arts teachers.
What I read in the LA Times was that the legal action targets the LAUSD and the superintendent. Is that correct?
That's correct. The district is led by a superintendent. He's made a number of public statements which are not true. And whatever direction he might be giving his team, it starts at the top in leadership. I was the superintendent. The superintendent could fix this tomorrow if he chose to, and we hope he does.
It seems like I don't know. I haven't done any research on this, but it does seem highly unusual for someone who had the role of superintendent to be part of a legal action against a sitting superintendent. What does that say about where we are with this?
Well, frankly, it says how sad the situation is. Start with, I wrote the law.
Yeah.
It's unusual for a school district to be saying, well, no, we see the law differently. And you go, well, the way it works is you look at the plain language in the law, and the next place you go, if there's any confusion, is to legislative intent. And I think that resides in my head. And other school districts, Long Beach called and said, are we reading this right? And I said, yes, you are, and this is what you should do. And they said, thank you very much. So did Inglewood. And I talked to Jim Morris at length and sort of helped them get to the right place. But the law is the law. Now, that I happen to have been the superintendent, maybe that's where this idea came from. I would visit schools, a lot of schools, hundreds of schools during my time as superintendent. And I saw my role not as the head teacher, not as the head principal. My role was to make sure teachers and principals and cafeteria workers and bus drivers, they all had what they needed to do their job well and take care of the kids. So I would always ask, leaving a school, what do you need? Give me your top three. This is after talking about a math program or whatever else they might be doing in the school that we thought was important to talk about. They might say, well, our roof is leaking. They might say, gosh, we really need to fix this athletic field, or we're like some updated textbooks in math, whatever it might be. But the top three always included arts and music. Never went to a school where someone during the visit didn't say, gosh, we'd love to have a little more arts and music because it helps our kids so much. And so my time as superintendent, I think it's unusual for a superintendent to sue their former district for something they're not doing correctly or a law they're not obeying. But I think my role as superintendent is a little more important in the sense of I know how schools work. I learned a lot as superintendent. I think I know what people who work in schools need, and I have a much better sense of what students need. And I know in my mind, in my heart, I know every student's going to benefit from that additional arts teacher, helping bring the magic to the classroom, and that's what I want to make sure happens.
Yeah, I mean, we're almost out of time here, but Assemblymember Bryan brings up several things that seem super important. Potential liability to the state if this audit confirms that these funds were spent wrong, and the possibility that money might have to be returned, which in the middle of a budget crisis seems highly problematic, along with the which you already touched on briefly, the disproportionate impact on marginalized communities. I just have a couple minutes here, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on those quickly.
Yeah, no. As Assemblymember Ryan's letter, it really hits home. It talks about kids in marginalized communities who aren't getting what they should be getting. And we know there's harm from that. It raises the specter that what the law says is if you don't use the money properly, you have to return it to the state. So the $77 million that wasn't used properly in 23-24 and $77 million in 24-25 and so on, that starts to add up to real money. In a school district which is claiming budgets are tight, the last thing they need is to give money back when they could have and should have used the money to help kids. And this coalition that we put together of artists, of educators, of our labor partners, of an amazing organization called Parents Supporting Teachers, which is the largest family-led support group with over 30,000 members, all of us together are in this fight because it's a righteous fight, and we're going to make sure that kids get what they're supposed to get.
Well, I have a feeling this won't be the last time we'll talk about this, but I appreciate the work you're doing on behalf of our children in general and our young artists in particular. Thank you. Appreciate having the time today. Absolutely. Tavis Smiley's up next. He's got a great show ready for you, so you're going to want to stick around for that. I'll go to Marian Wright Edelman for our quote today. She says, "Education is for improving the lives of others and leaving your community and world better than you found it." Let's keep the conversation going on social media. You can find me at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio on all platforms. I even have a YouTube channel. You can find this radio station at KBLA 1580 on all platforms. And we have an app. Go to the App Store. You can get it absolutely free. You can find any show you missed available there for free as a podcast. Like my mama used to say, history is now, and we are making it together. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Like DC Mayor Muriel Bowser has delayed presenting her